Nick Knowles, he's to be a dad again. He's a presenter on television, as you're probably aware, but his wife has banned him from being at his side during the birth. The 51-year-old is expecting a baby this summer with his wife Jessica, but Jessica said that giving birth is a very special process and she doesn't basically want him to see her being so vulnerable. So she wants him to be out of the room while the delivery is taking place. What do you think about that? Well, Frederika Roberts is on the phone to help us with this. You've got 2 teenage children, Frederika, is that right?
I have, yes. I'm sure they'd object to being called children by now.
Younger people, yes. Sorry. So, was your husband present for both of your births then?
He was, yes, and in fact both of them ended up being born in an operating theatre. Charlie, our eldest, as an emergency caesarean section, and Hannah, it was touch and go whether it was going to be a caesarean or not, so they wheeled me into an operating theatre and he came along with that as well, so he was present on both.
And did you had a discussion about it beforehand? You know, did he tell you what he wanted to do? Did you decide on how you wanted it to be, you know, how you wanted it to happen?
I think it was kind of assumed, really, and I think it is assumed for a lot of people nowadays that that's what's going to happen. So we didn't have a big debate about it or anything like that. It was kind of, yeah, you're going to be there.
And is that hard? Is that harder in a way? Is that harder in a way then, because everybody else does it, and you assume that you've got to do it as well, that you don't have to make a decision? It just is what happens.
I think it can be hard if you are perhaps a bit ambivalent about being there. For us it wasn't the case, and we both felt very, very happy to do that. I think if somebody's thinking, oh, I'm not sure I want to be there, or I'm not sure I want my husband to be there, then I think there is an awful lot of pressure on people to have the partner there at the birth, and people do get strange looks, I think, when you say, oh, he wasn't there, or he doesn't want to be there, or they want him to be there.
And how would you have felt if we said, you know what, I don't think this is for me?
I don't think I would have been very happy, to be fair. I think I felt I needed him there, and although I do understand that fear about the vulnerability, and it did cross my mind, the sort of, do I want him to see certain things? You know, it's not the most appealing time of your life, but I did feel that I wanted him there for emotional support, and I'm really glad that he was. It's a scary thing to go through birth, especially if you've never done it before.
And how did he support you then? Was he supportive?
He was very supportive. He did find it actually a lot more upsetting than I think either of us prepared for. And I think that's something that perhaps, especially first-time parents, don't think about, that it's really difficult for a man to watch the woman he loves go through an awful lot of pain and to actually feel completely helpless. And perhaps sometimes a little bit in the way as well. So he was very supportive. He did all the sort of, you know, mopping the brow and holding my hand and just being there for me. It was the midwives, actually, I felt quite strangely about, because sometimes they seemed more concerned about his well-being than mine, and I was thinking, hang on a minute. In fact, I was
charming.
Voicing quite strongly, you know, I'm the one going through this, never mind whether he needs a cup of tea.
Did you say that? Did you say, never mind getting him biscuits and tea, what about me?
Oh, I did.
Good.
But their argument was that he needed to be strong for me.
And has he talked about it since then? Has he ever discussed that experience with you?
Afterwards, he did talk to me about the fact that he was really quite upset for me, because it was such a painful and in a way traumatic, especially the first time around, because it was so very different to what we had envisaged in terms of how it was going to go. And for him, it was very upsetting to see me go through that and not actually be able to practically do much other than just kind of be there as emotional support.
Frederika, I've asked this question on Facebook, do men need to be at the birth of their babies? And Declan has got in touch to say yes, but not at the business end. Was your fella at the business end?
He was the second time round. The first time round, because it was a caesarean, they actually put a screen up and he was next to my head.
Right.
So I don't think anybody needs to see somebody being cut open. But,
no. Did you see the baby at the second time?
No, sorry. The second time he actually saw her come out, yes,
all right.
Absolutely.
So he got to see your baby before you. That's a bit unfair, isn't it?
It is a little bit, but I think it's really exciting, and there is that kind of, you know, me saying, oh, what does she look like? What's her hair
goodness.
Tell me. So I think there is something, and I don't think you would have missed it for the world. You know, it's a moment in time that you'll never ever get back, and that you can't reproduce. And it's wonderful that he was able to be there for that.
Frederika Roberts, thank you very much for joining us on BBC Radio Sheffield.